A reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 12, entitled Mohini Murti Bewilders Lord Shiva, text number 23 and 24. It's 23. Tasya karagrat satu kanduko yada gato viduram tamanuvrajat shriya vasasa sutram lagumaruto harad bhavasya devasya kilanupashyata tasya karagrat satu kanduko yada gato viduram tamuva anuvrajat striya vasasa sutram lagumaruto harad bhavasya devasya kilanupashyata tasya karagrat satu kanduko yada gato viduram tamun anuvrajat striya vasasa sutram lagumaruto harad bhavasya devasya kilanupashyata tasya karagrat satu kanduko yada gato viduram tamanuvrajat striya vasasa sutram lagumaruto harad bhavasya devasya kilanupashyata tasya karagrat satu kanduko yada gato viduram tamanuvrajat striya vasasa sutram lagumaruto harad bhavasya devasya kilanupashyata tasya karagrat satu kanduko yada gato viduram tamanuvrajat striya vasasa sutram lagumaruto harad bhavasya devasya kilanupashyata tasya of the beautiful woman kara agrat from the hand saha that tu but kanduka the ball yada when gata had gone viduram far off tam that ball anuvrajat began to follow striya of that woman vasha the covering dress sasutram with the belt lagu because of being very fine maruta the breeze aharat blew away bhavasya while Lord Shiva devasya the chief demigod kila indeed anupashyata was always looking. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When the ball leapt from her hand and fell at a distance, the woman began to follow it. But as Lord Shiva observed these activities, a breeze suddenly blew away the fine dress and belt that covered her. Verse number 24. Evam tam ruchira pangim dashaniyam manoraram dristva tasyam manas chakre visajantyam bhavakila. Translation and purport. Thus Lord Shiva saw the woman, every part of whose body was beautifully formed, and the beautiful woman also looked at him. Therefore, thinking that she was attracted to him, Lord Shiva became very much attracted to her. Purport. Lord Shiva was observing every part of the woman's body, and she was also glancing at him with restless eyes. Thus Shiva thought that she was also attracted to him, and now he wanted to touch her. Oh no. Okay. Okay, so it's still Lord Shiva requested Lord Vishnu to show him his Mohini Murti form, and here Lord Shiva is just meeting this beautiful young woman. He doesn't maybe yet know who she is, and he's becoming bewildered very quickly. Just like I was saying on Friday, that he was contemplating her. He was looking at her and observing. So this is the beginning of the downfall, when we start to observe these attractive external things. I mean, obviously Mohini Murti is Krishna, but representing the bewildering aspect of material energy. So in this part, more and more of that woman is being revealed to Lord Shiva, and he's becoming more and more attracted to him. And because he is becoming attracted, I'm just trying to plug in my computer because otherwise it's going to die. More he's becoming attracted, then he's starting to think, oh, probably she's attracted to me too. Thank you. I don't know if this thing works, but no. No. Okay, it doesn't work. Oh, this one maybe. Oh no, it doesn't work. Wait. Maybe the adapter. Okay, never mind. It's from. Okay, so the more Lord Shiva is becoming attracted, the more he thinks that that Mohini Murti, that the woman is attracting him, and that she's attracted to her. So this is a good image of, yes, cool, thank you, of how the material energy entices the living entity to be attracted. Like Maya always adorns herself in very beautiful ways, very attractive ways, to captivate the living entity. So she is Maya personified. She's a servant of Krishna. So she's active in her she's active. So she knows, and she presents herself in such a way that's most attractive to each living entity according to his desires. And this is the great power of the material energy, and because she attracts the living entity with so many false promises of happiness that we believe her. She presents something so nice, so attractive to us, and we think, oh yes, this will surely make me happy, and we become completely engrossed in this thing. So Maya is very, very clever, and she knows what she's doing. And in this world, we become attracted by so many things, like objects or people or wealth or beauty or nature or knowledge or so many things. But actually, these are just reflections. they are Krishna's energy, so they have some beauty in them, but it's a reflection. Like it's explaining Bhagavad Gita that the material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So the same things are there, but we disconnect them from Krishna with the false ego that thinks I am the controller, I am the proprietor, and I am the enjoyer. This is what makes the difference between material consciousness and spiritual consciousness. So in material consciousness, we think that we are the enjoyer. And so we try to enjoy all these opulent things, all these attractive things for our own pleasure, which actually entangles us more and more in the material world and drags us down to hellish conditions, Krishna explains Bhagavad Gita. But actually, what's really attractive in all these things is Krishna within those things. And in people, what's really attractive is the soul. It's because Krishna and the jiva, that's part and parcel of Krishna, are in that body that we are attracted to the body. Because we see, as soon as Krishna and the spark of Krishna leave the body, we're really not attracted to it anymore. We want to get rid of it or hide it or something. So, for example, here Lord Shiva is being attracted by this woman, and we can become so infatuated by one living entity. But if we can become so attracted to one living entity, and each living entity, Krishna explains, Mamaivam so jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana, every living entity is eternally part and parcel of me. So if we can feel so attracted to one tiny spark of Krishna, imagine actually how attracted the soul is to Krishna. So, yeah, because Krishna is like the original person, the original loving and lovable person that naturally we are attracted to. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells us, we're eternally loving servants of Krishna, that is already in the heart. So we can never be satisfied by chasing after these mirages. They're like mirages. The material and energy is like a mirage. And she makes so many promises of finding an oasis, finding some water that will quench the thirst of the soul, this thirst for love. And Maya presents so many oases, and in the material world it's like a desert. And we see an oasis and we think, okay, the rest of the world is a desert, but this is definitely a nice pool of water. So we run after it, and it gets further and further, and sometimes we think we get to it, and we jump into it and start drinking, but what happens, because it's a mirage, you just end up with sand in your mouth. So it's not actually satisfying the thirst, and it's making it worse, because you thought you were going to get water and actually just some horrible taste from trying to enjoy the material energy. So we're trying to have this relationship with the creation, just the external energy of Krishna, but actually the real relationship is to have a relationship with the artist, with the one who made all this, not just the painting that we see that is attractive and beautiful, but imagine the artist. He's who we're really attracted to. So, like these material things cannot really satisfy the heart. They occupy the mind and the senses for some time, and it's true, sometimes we get a little flavor, but they never really satisfy the heart, because it's like, I heard this example that if you have like these Christmas lights that you put around the tree, if it's just lying on the floor, it's not very interesting, even though, it's maybe we go and look at it and something, but it's not really amazing. But as soon as you plug it in, immediately the light is there, and immediately it's this original nature. So in the same way, these material things are actually very dull. But as soon as we connect them to Krishna, they become the source of all, they become the source of liberation instead of the source of bondage. So, yeah, there's a few stories that I like that give this example of people who were either looking for or had all the opulence and the wealth of everything that is attractive in this world, but came to a conclusion. So one is there was a devotee of Lord Shiva who wanted great wealth. So he was doing so many offerings to Lord Shiva to satisfy Lord Shiva. And so Lord Shiva was pleased with him, and he came and he said, okay, what do you want? And he said, well, I want the greatest wealth. I want the greatest wealth. And Lord Shiva said, well, actually, I don't have it, but I know someone who does. He's called Sanatan Goswami. So he lives over there. You go to see him and you ask him for the most valuable thing. So the devotee went to Sanatan Goswami, and he paid his obeisances, and he said, my dear Sanatan Goswami, Lord Shiva told me that you have the greatest wealth, and I would like to have it. And Sanatan Goswami said, oh, okay. I have a touchstone. Everything you touch with this touchstone will become gold. And the devotee was so happy. And he said, oh, where is it? I want it. And Sanatan Goswami said, oh, you see that pile of rubbish over there? It's somewhere in there. You go and look for it and you just take it. So he ran and he looked through all the garbage and he found it and he was so happy. And he went away and he was studying everything and everything was becoming gold and wow. But after a while, the effect started wearing off and he was thinking, wait, if this is actually the most precious thing, why was it in the pile of rubbish? So he was thinking like this and he didn't really find an answer. So he went back to Sanatan Goswami and he said, you gave me this touchstone, but I have one question. Why was it in the rubbish pile? If it's the most precious thing, why were you not keeping it in a safe place? And Sanatan Goswami said, well, actually, I have something even more valuable than that. And he said, oh, really? And you didn't give it to me? He said, no, I can give it to you. Okay. But before you have to throw the touchstone in the river and get rid of it. And he was like, really? Do I want to do that? But then he had faith in Sanatan Goswami, so then he threw it away and Sanatan Goswami initiated him in the Harinam initiation, gave him the Maha Mantra. So, and Sanatan Goswami, who is Sanatan Goswami? He was the Prime Minister. Yeah, it was him, the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister for the Nawab Hussain Shah, and he had all the wealth and all the opulence and all the power and beauty and fame and knowledge and everything that anyone can aspire for. But he was really not satisfied because all these external things can't do anything. So he gave up his post, and at the beginning he pretended he was sick. So he told the king, okay, I'm sick, I can't come. And after a few days, the king sent his doctor to see Sanatan Goswami and to see how he was and try to make him better because the king was very attached to him. And actually he was just reading Srimad Bhagavatam with devotees. And then after that he just really completely gave up his position and he left everything just to live under tree in Vrindavan and follow the instructions of Lord Chaitanya. So this is one good example. Another one is the story of Dhruva Maharaj, who probably I don't need to tell the whole story, but he was asking for a kingdom greater than that of his father and that of his grandfather. And he did so many austerities and he was worshipping Lord Vishnu because he really, really wanted this kingdom. And then Lord Vishnu came and he said, okay, what do you want? I'm pleased with your worship, so I will give you whatever you like. And Dhruva Maharaj just didn't reply. And Vishnu said, you wanted a kingdom, no? And Dhruva said, no, actually I don't want a kingdom anymore. Now I've seen you, I don't want a kingdom anymore. I was, and then he says, I came to the forest looking for broken pieces of glass, but I have found the most rare jewel, the most precious jewel of Krishna. And so it's said in the Bhagavatam, Mahajana Yena Gatasa Panta, that we should follow in the footsteps of the great souls, of the Mahajana, because they have Krishna in their heart, they carry Krishna in their heart, and they can give him to us if we follow in their footsteps. So this is the whole process of bhakti yoga that we're trying to do. We're trying to follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya and Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami in his Upadeshamrita, he explains, Prabhupada explains in the introduction that that the foundation of the Krishna consciousness movement is to follow the instructions of Rupa Goswami. So, and by following these instructions, we again reawaken our love for Krishna, because it reveals to us that we are eternally servant of the servant of the servant. Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayar Das 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 Anudas. And that is the real wealth. That's the greatest treasure that we can hope for, that we can long for, and that we should be very eager to get. So yeah, and not be attracted by the external material energy, that it will do everything to give us exactly what we think is the most attractive thing for us. But actually, the Mahajans, the great souls, they teach us that the greatest thing is actually not that. The greatest thing is Krishna, love for Krishna. So well, I'm going to stop there because I have to go and do the transfer for breakfast. So do you have any questions or comments, corrections? Yes. Okay.
We are attracted to some people. We are actually attracted to either inner spark, like a spirit soul, because it's a part and parcel of Krishna. But at the same time, we can see that our mind is on a material platform, and it's not able to actually be connected with the spiritual, another human, another person. So it's still actually what we can connect is something material. We are on a material platform. So how that we can understand at the same time we actually acting on material platform because of consciousness, we can see that we are very aware about the body, who is material, and in the same time understand that we are actually attracted with the spiritual side. Understand the question?
I don't understand the question. I understand what you're saying, but what's the question?
So how can we understand that we are actually can be acting on the material platform, but
still,
we are actually attracted with the spiritual inside the body, but we are actually understand, because you give example when the person die, spiritual part, soul leave the body. Immediately we are not attracted with the body anymore, but still we are actually acting on material platform all the time because of the mind.
So, yeah, I mean we are acting on the material platform. So, of course, we are also attracted by the externals, but ultimately it's not just the externals. So, yeah, we can see in the way we're attracted, some things or some people we are attracted to and others not, because that's based on the material conception. But still, within those things that are attractive to us, it's always the spirit soul that's attractive. But for someone who's not acting on the material platform, to him, it's explained in Bhagavad Gita that Pandita Samadarshinaha, he sees everyone as the spirit soul because he's not at all on the material platform. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like a combination of both. On the liberated platform, you're only attracted to the soul and not the bodies at all. But in our conditioned state, it's the soul within some bodies that we find attractive and others not, I guess. I don't know, do you want to add something? Yeah. No? I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Mm.
According to our desires.
Mm.
He's offering you. She's very personal.
Mm.
Very personal. She's very personal. She's not impersonal.
No.
Very, very personal. She deeply knows our desire, what we want. That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Counter Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai.